Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, dogs, and cats, and welcome back to COD Level Up. Wasn't that a very, very epic pause there? Jeez. Welcome back, guys, to Hearts of Iron 4. Today we are back, well, in our Every State Independent series. We've been running for like 5 episodes now, which is farther than I ever thought we'd get. There's a lot of big boys being developed in Europe right now. There's also some very strong countries developing in Africa, in the Middle East, and actually over in Asia. And I think at the beginning of this episode, I want to do 2 things. I want to ask you guys, what are your picks? Right now is the time to start betting. I want to see everyone comment who they think is going to win. And then the second thing that I want to do is I want to go over my top 5 picks. Hopefully I get one of these right. So my top 5 picks of countries I think might take over the entire world. Speaking of the devil, Kastamonu, number 5. Now, the reason I think Kastamonu could do very well is because they start in the Middle East. There are a ton of countries that can be formed in the Middle East, and the Ottoman Empire is one of them. And I think the Ottoman Empire is actually fairly easy to form. I think they only really need Iraq and, bits of the northern Arab world. I could be wrong, though, and if they can't form a nation, I think they're going to eventually get surpassed. But the reason they are on my list is because they took over countries a lot faster than any other country, I think, in the beginning of the game. They were taking over countries faster than Croatia and Serbia, who actually had formed nations already. So Kastamonu, you're my number 5. Now, number 4 is a little bit of a tie between Pas-de-Calais. Pas-de-Calais? I think that's how you say it. I hope I'm saying that right now. I actually looked up how to say a lot of these, so my pronunciation might be a little bit better. Now, I still have an American accent, obviously, and there's nothing I can really do about that, but I can at least learn how to say these things a little bit more correctly than I usually do. It's a tie between Pas-de-Calais and Friesland, which was correctly... I was corrected. I said Friesland before, which is obviously very incorrect now that I see it. Friesland is apparently the correct way to say it. These two are tied for number 4 because they both control the same amount of states. They're both in the same region. I'd say probably an edge to Pas-de-Calais at this point, not just because they control more land, but just because they're in a safer position. If they are able to go take over Brittany, they're going to be safer from a couple of their flanks. Friesland is going to be kind of squished in between Brandenburg and Pas-de-Calais, and then anything to the south of them. My number 3 pick is actually going to be Aragon. Now, I think Aragon is going to do very well. Again, the reason they're not higher on this is because they're going to have to face off against Garda, and they're going to be a very tricky foe. I think Aragon will most likely come out on top because Aragon is going to start picking off these little guys, Madrid and Murcia. Hopefully, in their case, hopefully faster than Garda can pick off Leon, because Garda is going to immediately go after Murcia or Madrid as well, and these two are going to compete for the last Iberian nations until they have to go to war with each other. Aragon may end up in a 2-front war against one country in France and another being Garda. But I think Aragon is powerful enough that they'll eventually win over and actually dominate Iberia and actually form Iberia, becoming very, very strong and a definite contender for the winner of the entire game. Now, my number 2 pick is Serbia. They formed a nation very early on in the game. Extremely good for them. The reason that they're not number 1 is because they've very, very slowed down. They've slowed down a lot. They were snowballing extremely fast in the first 3 episodes, I think. And then the previous, maybe 1 or 2, they really didn't do much. They have not grown. They defeated whoever was right here, Oltenia. But now they're at war with Burgas. They don't have a very good border to get in there. I think Moldova is actually going to be the one that's annexing basically the entirety of Burgas. So Serbia is going to have to wait till Burgas is dead, then look to other places. Serbia right now only has 5 divisions. That's actually pretty good. There are other countries with more divisions that are stronger at this point. Now, my number 1 pick is obviously Guangdong. And now I saw some people were confused in the comments last episode. They were like, why are you saying the Guangdong dynasty? I've explained this a couple times, but I'll explain it one more time. I know that these are state names, but just for RP reasons, I guess I'm calling them dynasties because in China it's almost like, China fell apart. Now there's a bunch of these small dynasties and they're all fighting each other to create one larger dynasty. So we're just kind of playing a little bit of word game here. It's nothing serious. I don't actually think that there's a Guangdong dynasty. But yes, they're my number 1 pick. Look at how many divisions they have. They have 14 divisions on field right now. They have a ton of states annexed to them already, including Hong Kong, Macau, and then this French one as well. meaning that those are all one province states. That's very powerful. You don't need even very much land to take those states. And there's a ton of small countries for them to expand to and slowly kill off. And I think these guys will unite China within probably the next 3 episodes, and they may be unstoppable after that. Now, really quick before we get into the rest of the game, I want to do some honorable mentions. Number 1, Empire of the Lion. Doing super good. Don't underestimate Empire of the Lion just because they are taking a long time to kill off Northern Sudan. These guys are going to start snowballing too, and these guys have a very high chance of actually conquering all of Africa. Abu Dhabi doing very well, looking like they have a high chance as well of conquering the Arab world at forming an Arab nation. Stavropol doing very well in the Caucasus. Right now they're at war with stuff north of them, so they could continue going north and actually uniting a lot of these tiny guys up here in Russia that are still struggling to actually do anything. Amazonas, I would love to have put Amazonas on my list, but they're not quite there yet. I mean, of course, they have 2 divisions. They do have 4 states, which is pretty good. And of course, their whole terrain is jungle, and that's very hard to deal with as a big, huge country. And last but not least, I think I'm going to put Northeast Canada on my honorable mentions list. They're doing very well, and they did very well in the Drew Journal video that he made a while back as well. So there we have it, boys. Let's actually get into the game. I just want to do a quick recap of some of the countries that are doing very well in this game. There's obviously a lot more that are doing good too, but I couldn't put them on here because, you know, I don't want to waste too much of your time. And here we go. Let's actually get into this. All right, so Garda did just annex Leon. So they will be going after Madrid or Murcia next. I think if they went after Madrid, that would be very bad for Aragon because, and they did, they are going after Madrid right now. They could cut off Aragon from invading Murcia, which would be very dangerous for Aragon. Now, Aragon is coming in here. They do need to capture as much of these states from Madrid as possible before Garda actually annexes them. And look at this. Friesland took 2 states. Bourgogne took 1 state, and Moselland was annexed. Rest in peace. Friesland, Bourgogne, doing very good. I learned how to say that one too. Are you guys proud of me? Jeez. Now, the fate of France and basically Central Europe is up in the air right now. The balance of power is very, very real over here in France and Central Europe. Except for Franken, that's not even fair. But Pas-de-Calais, I think, is making the right move by invading Brittany to cover their western flank. Lima was annexed. Rest in peace, Lima. That was a country that I was actually watching for a long time and hoping they would do good. But we do have a country over here now that I do not know how to pronounce. Also, Scania was just annexed. Rest in peace, Scania. Upper Austria was annexed. Wow, that's a big one. Bavaria took 3 states, and Transdanubia took 1 state. Also, Rhodesia annexed Mozambique. So again, the borders changing in Central Europe. Both Transdanubia and Bavaria both ended up still being landlocked somehow after that peace deal. Crimea was just annexed. Oh, guys, you guys remember last episode, Crimea actually took a state. Wow, this country in Ukraine, I have no idea how to say that one. I'm not even going to attempt it, I apologize. They're doing good. They are looking pretty strong. That's a lot of states to control. With 5 divisions too, that's really not bad at this point of the game. Pomerania just annexed the state as well. And Stavropol and Stalingrad just split another guy as well. Stavropol doing pretty good. I am rooting for Stavropol. I am rooting for them over in Eastern Europe in the Russia region. While they are at war with a unfortunate country to be at war with. I don't think that they're going to be able to take any of that, obviously. Oh, Cornwall was finally annexed in England. East Anglia now controls the entirety of basically England except for Northern England up here. So if East Anglia is quick, they could jump on Northern England faster than they can respond because they're at war over here. It looks like they only have 2 divisions as well. Madrid was annexed into Murcia. Oh, wow. Murcia took them. I did not expect that. That almost puts Murcia in a position where they can compete, but they only have 2 divisions, so that's no. We have Garda over here with 6 divisions. Aragon over here with 6 divisions. Wow. Aragon and Garda are a lot more evenly matched than I thought. But yeah, Murcia is at war with both of them, so we are really approaching that climax point between Aragon and Garda. I'm really excited for it. I would also like to show off, Kurzemi is doing very well. There is a couple of things that I think that they have the chance of forming fairly soon. The Grand Duchy of Lithuania, they're about 40% there of all the states that they actually need to form that country. Also, Armenia doing very well over here. They are very close to actually forming Transcaucasia. Transcaucasia. Jeez, I'm probably butchering that. I apologize. The only thing that they're not controlling is Georgia. So if they do go to war with Stavropol, and they do seize Georgia, the entire state, from Stavropol in a war. Even if they don't win it, they have a chance of forming Transcaucasia, which is pretty sweet. Kursk was just annexed by a couple of states as well. Armenia and Kastamonu both split Malatya in half. That is the last country to Kastamonu's east besides Armenia, which is actually looking just as strong as Kastamonu at this point. Although Kastamonu has quite a lot more divisions. And Kastamonu has decided to go to war with Bursa first before they go to war with Armenia, and Armenia did the same thing. They're going to war with Kurdistan instead. Wow, if you guys remember, Kurdistan was doing very good for a long time. Almost all of the core of Kurdistan is sieged out at this point. We also have Damascus trying to break into Egypt. That's very dangerous for Africa, actually, because if Damascus breaks the Arabian Desert and conquers the entire thing, that country becomes very close to actually being able to form Arabia, actually. Arizona annexed Baja California. Hubei was annexed over in China. Also, Bohemia annexed Franken. Wow, that is terrible. It looks like Friesland lost out on that one. And now they're at war with Bohemia, though, so they're going to take all of this back very fast, too. Oh, look at this. Bavaria is now at war with Istria. Finally, is Zara going to kill off Istria? Oh, I think it might be done right now, actually. This war that has been lasting for so long, it just ended. Croatian Federation took 2 states. Istria was annexed. This war has been going on since episode 1. Very early on in episode 1 as well. As I might say so, too. It's finally done. Croatia, who actually won their war. And now they're at war with Transdanubia. Corsica took 1 state. Actually, Corsica won against Sardinia, which is pretty cool. Lodz was annexed. Uruguay was just annexed. Rest in peace, Uruguay. I was totally rooting for Uruguay, dude. Low-key was rooting for Uruguay. Kansas was just annexed by Nebraska. I know some people in my Discord are going to be a little disappointed about that. Or happy about that. Depends on which state you're in. Kazan was just annexed as well. Papua was just annexed by West Papua. I would also like to point out how well Honduras is doing. They're doing very good with only 2 divisions. They're killing off a lot of these Central American countries, and it looks like they're about to kill off Yucatan as well. Utah was just annexed into Colorado. Here's a good look at North America right now. Alabama somehow survived that insane siege from Florida. They've managed to build divisions, encircle the Floridian divisions, and now are sieging the entirety of Florida. Oh, look at this. Transdanubia and Eastern Slovakia both split northern Hungary. Transdanubia is now a little bit stronger, able to face off against Croatia a little bit more. But look at this. Look how strong Croatia is. 7 divisions that I'm counting here. Transdanubia, though, I've just realized, very strong too. 7 divisions that I can see here, plus probably more coming soon. When one of these guys knocks each other out, that's going to drastically change the balance of power in this whole region. Warsaw was just annexed by Prussia. Rest in peace. Also, Lublin was just annexed by Carpathian Ruthenia. Jeez, wow, I'm saying a lot of words I don't usually say. Idaho also just annexed Wyoming. Over here in Southeast Asia, Guangdong is actually now facing off against Laos. They are no longer, well, at least for this moment, going into China and annexing bits of China. They've decided to attack a stronger foe to the south, Laos. That's actually a very strategic idea too by Guangdong, because Laos is actually fairly close to forming Indochina as a formable nation. So Guangdong, I think, wants to eliminate that threat. Wow, Stavropol just totally backstabbed their little ally of Stalingrad, where they recently helped kill off a different foe. Oh, look at this too. Burgas was finally just killed off, and it looks like Serbia actually did get a state out of it. But Moldova got 3, and Serbia only got 1. Is that going to toss these 2 into a war? No, actually. Serbia is now at war with our northern neighbor, Carpathian Ruthenia, a guy we heard about a little bit earlier. All right, boys. We did just see a peace deal between Garda, Aragon, and the guy that they just killed off. Poor little... which one was it? Poor little Mercia. Garda and Aragon split it half and half. Aragon and Garda are officially at war. Clash of the Titans. Whoever wins this war will form Iberia and will become extremely powerful in all of Europe, and will possibly have the possibility of going up and conquering these French states that are still fighting each other. New York was just annexed, by the way, into southern Ontario. But it looks like officially Aragon made the first move. They took a province first. Let's check the division count with these guys. Let's square them up before we actually watch the battle. 48 military factories and 8 divisions for Aragon, 28,000 manpower. Going up against Garda, 26,000 manpower, 47 military factories, 7 divisions. Extremely even. A Portuguese versus a Spanish. Let us see who wins. Garda was a little late to actually respond, so Aragon was actually the first one to take quite a few provinces. Well, 4, not very much really. Also, Prussia and Pomerania just split this guy that I've never even really noticed before. That leaves a huge border between Prussia and Pomerania, and I'm not sure if they're at war with each other or not. No, they're at war with one of the remaining small little guys down here. But it seems most of Garda's force is down in the south by Granada, and there is an equally large response, I think, by the Aragon forces. But actually, there's a lot of Aragon forces in the north up here that Garda is not actually protecting from. Santiago was just annexed by Patagonia, rest in peace. Angola also, rest in peace, Angola, annexed by Leopoldville. Oh, look at this. Pomerania is actually at war with Brandenburg now. Brandenburg is definitely in some trouble here. They are doing a pretty good job fighting back the Danes. South Carolina also annexed North Carolina. But Pomerania, they're basically free. They are at war with this small guy down here, but they're not really doing much. They're going to die pretty soon anyways, and they can't really reach them. So they're going to be sending their whole force over here to Brandenburg, and we might see a continually uniting Germany. But boys, this episode is going to be way too long unless I end it here. Thank you very much for watching this. If you've liked this episode, make sure to leave a like, favorite, and subscribe if you guys are new. And I would like to introduce you guys into what I'm planning to do for 20K, just in case you're not subscribed. I plan on doing a short series on EU4 in Roblox. So the Roblox version of EU4, we're going to do a total playthrough. It's going to be great. If you're interested, make sure you subscribe and let's get to 20K. But again, thank you very much for watching. If you like this, make sure to leave a like, favorite, and subscribe if you guys are new. And I will see you guys all next time. Peace.